Someone you cared about just stopped answering. No fight, no explanation, no goodbye. And right now your brain is doing something to you that you cannot stop, and you do not even know it is happening. You keep checking your phone. You reread the last message. You search your memory for what you said wrong. That loop you cannot turn off is not a personality flaw. It is a built-in alarm, and a psychologist at Purdue University figured out exactly how it works. His name is Kipling Williams. The story of how he discovered this starts in a park. He was lying on the grass when a frisbee landed near him. He tossed it back to two strangers who were playing. They threw it to him a few more times. He felt good. Then, with no warning, they stopped throwing it to him. They just kept playing with each other as if he was not there. Williams said the sting of that small moment stayed with him for hours, and he could not stop wondering why such a tiny rejection felt so heavy. So he built an experiment to study it. He called it Cyberball. It is a simple virtual game on a computer screen. You see your animated hand at the bottom and two other players across from you. A ball gets tossed between the three of you. After a few throws, the other two players stop passing it to you. They just throw it back and forth, while you sit there waiting. That is the whole experiment. What Williams found surprised the field. People who got left out of this meaningless little game reported real pain. Their mood dropped. Their self-esteem dropped. They felt invisible. And when researchers later put participants in brain scanners while they played, the exclusion lit up the same regions that activate during physical injury, including an area called the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. Being ignored was not just unpleasant. The brain processed it the way it processes a wound. You're watching Mind Unlocked, where we decode the hidden patterns of the human mind. Here is where it gets darker. Williams kept tweaking the experiment to see how strong the effect was. He told some participants the other players were just a computer program, no humans involved. People still felt hurt when the computer stopped throwing them the ball. He told another group the other players belonged to a hate group they personally despised. People still felt hurt when those players ignored them. He could not turn the pain off. Ostracism slipped past every rational filter the brain had, often in under 60 seconds of being left out. And here is the part that hits close to home. Williams identified 4 basic needs that get attacked the second someone goes silent on you. The need to belong. The need for self-esteem. The need for control over your own life. And the need to feel like your existence has meaning. Ghosting is not just a missing text message. It is a quiet strike against all 4 needs at the same time. That is why one unanswered message can wreck a whole evening. Think about the last time someone disappeared on you. You did not just lose contact. You lost the story you were telling yourself about who you were to that person. You felt smaller. You felt confused about what was real. You felt powerless because there was nothing to respond to. And some quiet part of you wondered if you mattered at all. That is the 4-need attack happening in real time, and your brain has no defense ready for it. Williams described 2 stages your mind goes through after being ignored. The first is reflexive, which means automatic and immediate. The pain hits before you can think. It does not matter if you barely knew the person who ghosted you. It does not matter if the relationship was short. The hurt arrives before your reasoning brain even shows up. Then comes the reflective stage, where you start trying to make sense of it. This is where the late-night message rereading begins. This stage can stretch out for days, weeks, even months, depending on how meaningful that connection was to you. Now consider what most people get wrong about ghosting. They assume the silence is about them. They replay every word, every voice note, every photo. They search for the mistake. But the research keeps pointing the other way. A 2010 study by Gilly Friedman at Dartmouth, later expanded with collaborators, found that people who hold what psychologists call a destiny belief about relationships, the idea that connections either are or are not meant to be, are significantly more likely to ghost. The silence is not a verdict on your worth. It is often a quiet admission that the other person never learned how to end things. That asymmetry is the cruel part. The one who walks away pays a small fee. The one who is left behind pays in sleep, focus, and self-trust. Williams showed in follow-up work that the sting of being ignored can outlast a direct insult. An insult gives your brain something to push against. Silence gives it nothing, so your mind invents possibilities to fill the space, and most of those invented stories are about your own flaws. You have done this. You just did not realize it was a pattern. A 2018 survey by the dating app Plenty of Fish reported that around 80% of millennials had been ghosted at least once, and a similar share admitted to ghosting someone else. Maybe you went quiet on a coworker because answering them felt awkward. Maybe you stopped replying to a friend because the friendship felt heavy that week. Maybe you faded on a date because you did not know how to say you were not feeling it. Ghosting is not rare behavior from cruel people. It is common behavior from ordinary people who would rather disappear than have one uncomfortable sentence. And this is the truth most viewers miss. The pain you feel when someone ghosts you is not proof that you were wrong, weak, or unwanted. It is proof that you are wired to belong.
Anthropologists like Robin Dunbar have argued that human survival depended on tight groups of roughly 150 people, and being pushed out of that circle was effectively a death sentence on the savannah. Your nervous system still treats a read receipt with no reply as a threat to your life.
It is not broken. It is doing its job. The mismatch is that modern silence is rarely about survival, but your body cannot tell the difference. There is something else worth knowing. Williams ran versions of Cyberball where the exclusion lasted just 2 or 3 missed throws. People still hurt. He ran versions where participants were told beforehand they would probably be excluded, so they could prepare for it. They still hurt. The pain did not care about warnings, explanations, or context. Once your brain reads the pattern of being left out, the alarm fires whether you want it to or not. There is also a chemical layer to this. In 2010, researcher Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA ran a study where participants who had been excluded in Cyberball were given acetaminophen, the same ingredient in Tylenol, for 3 weeks. Compared to a placebo group, they reported measurably less social pain on daily questionnaires, and their brain scans showed quieter activity in the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. A common painkiller, designed for headaches, was dulling the ache of being left out. That is how literally your body treats rejection as injury. So here is the shift. Stop trying to solve the silence. You will not find the answer by rereading old messages, because the answer is not in your behavior. It is in the other person's discomfort, and you cannot fix that from outside. The healthier move is to name what is happening. Say it out loud. I am being ostracized, and my brain is in pain because it is built that way. The second you name the wound, you take some of its power back. Challenge yourself on the other side too. The next time you feel the urge to ghost someone, remember Williams' 4 needs. A 2-line message costs you almost nothing. Silence costs the other person days. You do not owe anyone a relationship. You do owe them a sentence. One honest line is the difference between a clean goodbye and a wound that takes weeks to close.
There is a practical script worth memorizing for that moment.
Researchers who study relationship dissolution often point to 3 short pieces. Name the connection, state your decision, and close the door clearly. Something as plain as, I have valued knowing you, I am not going to continue this, and I wish you well, takes under 10 seconds to type. It denies the other person nothing they actually need, and it spares them the weeks of invented stories that silence would have triggered. The cost to you is one uncomfortable breath. The gift to them is a nervous system that gets to stand down. Most people will never learn this. They will keep reading old chats at midnight, hunting for a clue that was never there. They will keep ghosting others while begging the universe to stop ghosting them. The cycle keeps going because nobody told them what the pain actually is. Now you know. So next time the phone stays quiet and your chest gets tight, remember the frisbee in the park, remember the 4 needs, and remember this. The silence is not a verdict on you. It is a sentence someone else could not say out loud. Subscribe to Mind Unlocked. Next video, the one word that predicts whether someone respects you.